childhood, growing and developing years of a person, this is meant to be a highly important time to create morals, fundamentals, and skills necessary to be a success. Instead, the trauma CPS creates in these young minds set a path of disaster, and statistics prove it. In nearly 90% of their cases, the trauma is unnecessary. Time is the one thing that can never be given back. CPS takes away moments in life that can't be replaced. The time just keeps going, doesn't mean a thing anymore. They left as children, and it's up to them when they come home if they know who you are. Each second away is time you will never get back and keep getting older.
Studies are leading towards incarceration.
Now comes the honorable judge in the halls of justice, where the Constitution will hold strong, and your rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness will trample CPS for all they have done to your child.
The truth and corruption that's revealed to you is enough to make you sick. This is not America we were sold.
Children are being taken from families at the rate of one a minute. It needs to be stopped.
It's time to wake up and abolish CPS.
Psalm 127:3. Children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from Him. This suggests children are a precious gift from God to be valued and cared for.
In the United States, a child a minute is taken into DHS CPS and so on custody. The reality is their picks are already selected, you just don't know it. Being perfect no longer matters. It's what the adopting families are looking for.
Who is it stealing the children, you ask?
From caseworker to the White House, the buck stops at all levels, just not where it is supposed to be. The services your family needs, we the people have paid for to ensure your reunification. Title IV says, reunify at all costs. United, we stand means nothing to us when it comes to family values. Children are being ripped away from their families. Parents are reverting to addictive behaviors to cover the pain. The trauma caused by child removal is just being recognized, and the results are atrocious. Termination of parental rights is not healthy or right, just profitable for the people enforcing the line. This all happens.
It's time Washington listens to the cries of our children, the wails of their mothers, and the rage growing in the fathers. These are our children. Keep your damn hands off them. We are coming to act on the behalf of the children God gave us to protect, and you kidnapped.
In the United States, CPS makes upwards of $3 billion per day on trafficking and selling our children. The corruption may start with the caseworker, but goes through the judicial system, passing the governor through the Senate and into the White House. The entire system has a hand in the business known as CPS.
Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title IV funding is being riveted with fraud.
What's up, everybody? Good evening. This is CPS Punisher. This is CPS Victims Hunting for Justice. What is going on, people? Tonight we got another great lineup for you. I don't even really want to get into one of my normal opening monologues, but I will say this, people. If you are watching and being entertained and learning from us here on this show, I do ask you, please, if you're going to post, if you're going to be a part of this show, if you're going to be in the chats, I want no negativity. I want nothing but positive reinforcement for people that are here on this show and people that are in the chat seeking support from one another. I don't want to see any people that have any sort of argumentative, any sort of negative, nothing, people. This is a 100% we're moving forward zone. We are all about togetherness and figuring stuff out. I mean, maybe even if we argue on this show or not, it doesn't matter. We all still work together for one purpose, one solid thing, and that's for CPS to get out of our lives. So please keep that in mind. I can't emphasize enough how disappointed I am in what happened the other night by one person. And, it takes one person to ruin a very good thing. And we don't want to have that here, and, guys, take this with you wherever you go. If you're with advocate groups, if you're with people that are fighting CPS, make sure you take with you that attitude. Don't become the problem so that it makes it hard for our group to get recognition. Don't become that, jerk that's just out there being foul-mouthed towards caseworkers. Move along. Make sure that you have a great image and good rapport with yourself. No one will take us seriously if you're out there just slanging things at people, doing just all kinds of negative, anything. So please, guys, I know we don't like CPS. I know that we don't care for what they do. I know that we hate them for stealing our kids. But please, guys, please be respectful and be good about how you're doing things. Make them wrong about who they say that we are as parents and people that are involved in the system. As that's being said, Brenda, how are you? Carrie's here. That's awesome. We got the chat, which is right, boom, 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 right there, that you can get on. Please do so. Be involved with us, activate with us. So questions, comments, anything like that. And again, please, as best you can, let's not. You guys know what you should do. One bad seed doesn't need to ruin the best. Everybody else from here has been right on, spot on, awesome people that have been in this audience. So just one bad seed kind of ruined it. So I apologize for trying to bring it to everybody. So the people that were already here know what we were supposed to be doing. So I appreciate that, guys. Thank you very much. All right. That being said, let's bring out Melissa. We got Melissa with us tonight. What's going on, Melissa?
Hey, Darren.
How are you? How are we doing?
Oh, I'm good. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. They might as well bring out Dallas with us too, huh?
Yep.
Dallas, good evening, sir. How are you?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, some CPS time.
Good times.
Yeah, right. Real free. Hey, I don't know if you heard what I was just saying in that intro, but I don't know maybe how you feel about it, the people that listen to you, but people that have negative comments towards the guests and so on like that, people that want to, make, because some comments were made about one of our guests the other night that was just rude and irresponsible. And there was no call for it. So I don't know if it was just a hater or if it was someone that I don't know. But I don't know about you, but I think we promote here, like, look, if you guys are out there and you want to fight CPS, that's awesome. We love it, but do it in a respectful way. That way we don't look like the people that they're saying that we are, right? Like that's kind of the way I feel, I don't know how you feel about it.
And hey, if you're gonna pick on someone that can fight back. Don't pick on a handicapped person.
Right. Good stuff. So tonight, guys, we have Cheryl here from National Action Network, and then we also have a special guest, Corey O'Grady. He's got quite a story that he's going to let us in on too. So I don't know if we want to bring in Cheryl first with National Action, or do we want to hear Corey's story first? What do you guys want to do?
I would bring Cheryl in, and then let Corey tell his story.
Yeah, let's hear Corey's story. Let's hear Corey's story. I just love hearing Mr. Matt Dallas yesterday. I truly enjoyed his conversation, so I just wanted to be a part of his conversation on today. So
all right. Well, let's hear what goes on. All right, Corey O'Grady. We had him. We can see him. Well, we can't see him.
Yeah, I think that his device is not very compatible. It was not allowing him to grant permission.
Oh no! Can he at least speak now?
What I could do is I could get him on my other phone on speakerphone.
Yeah, we could try that. Why not? If it's too hectic, then we'll go without it. But yeah, sure, let's try it.
All right.
Dallas, do you have any good updates in your world?
Say that again.
Do you have any good updates in your world? What do you got?
Well, yeah. Well, as you all know, been pushing really hard on trying to bring the country together and unify in solidarity. And what I'm finding is that the majority of the American people have no clue what their rights are. I'm finding that the majority of people have no clue on what the law is, because they've been brainwashed. They've been brainwashed to believe that statutes, codes, and policies are law. And it's just simply not true. The Constitution is law. And so what me and my team are doing, and Darren, we're gonna do a little private phone call with you too a little bit later, but what we're going to do is we're going to launch a series of events throughout the entire nation. And we're going to start right here in San Antonio. And we're gonna host a pretty big event. We're gonna try to make it pretty spectacular, and it's going to be in the end of July. And I'm gonna be making a couple of videos on my TikTok channel about it, advertising it, letting people know. But I want people to come together for a training program, for a training kind of like a seminar, and have a good time. I don't think learning the law and learning your rights should be a dull thing. I don't want people to come in and just listen to people lecture for like 2 hours or whatever it might be over the weekend. Or I want people to be interactive. I want people to have a fun time on learning their rights, learning the law, interacting with each other, building a team, building a community. And I think it's sorely lacking in this country, where people are just too lost. They don't know where to turn, and they're begging for help, and they're suffering. And we need to find a way to eliminate that. We need to find a way to bring everybody together.
100%, and that's genius, man, to bring people together for such a rotten cause, but for good. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is one of those things that's like every day you deal with it, I deal with it. A lot of and on top of my situation with my daughter, but it's not like you wake up and you're like, yes, I get to wake up and do so, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, what poor person last night got sucked into the world of CPS, what bad happened. So, and everybody is just so down and out, and to be able to turn that into something powerful and enrichment, and to come together for such a nasty emotional feeling every day, to turn that into powerful. And maybe that's what the people need to get involved, is to feel that goodness about it. look at all of us. Like, this is all of us. I'm not alone. I'm not by myself. I'm not, like there are many of us, like, and then to put that into play, man, that's going to be awesome. I know that you're probably in your early stages, so there's not much, but I mean, I'm whatever we got to do, I'm on board. You know that.
I like what you're saying. That is absolutely true. People don't know what their rights are. People don't even know they have rights. But guess what? The people that holds the power, they claim they hold the power, they don't even know what their own policy says.
Right.
And that's how we beat them every time, because they don't even know what the law is. Those police will walk around and tell people what their rights are and read that Miranda to them. They don't even know what that means themselves. So that's how we can get them. But people are hungry for information. And when you start conversating with people, then that's when they get on board. They don't know what they're supposed to know. So conversating and talking with them, then that's when we'll get them all on board.
Information is power.
Right. Is there anything that people can do just even to get this thing going, Dallas? Is there anything that you want anybody to look out for, check out?
Well, follow me on TikTok, because we will be announcing the dates, the times, and the venue of that event. So we will be announcing on how to get tickets to that event, where you can come from. It will be in San Antonio, I'll tell you that. But and it should be either at the end of July or in the beginning of August.
Right.
So we're going to give time for people to make arrangements, get down to Texas, or if you live in Texas, come on by. Even if you live in Dallas or wherever you are, make sure that you're going to put this on your calendar, because it's going to be an amazing event. But make sure you're following me on TikTok in order to get those video updates. But we're working on it right now. We're working on all the details.
Hey, what's your what's your TikTok names for those people that don't know you? I'm sure that
if you don't know me, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram. It's just Malibu Dallas, just right there on the screen. It just says Malibu Dallas, at Malibu Dallas.
Cool. That's great, man. That's just exciting. I mean, I have 1,000 questions I'd want to ask you, but none of them will have answers. So we'll just have to wait for this to go. And obviously,
I'm not going to be the only speaker. We're gonna try to get several speakers there. We're gonna try to get a whole team down there where we are able to answer everybody's questions. We don't want anybody to feel left out. We're trying to put on a big event, but I want everybody in that room, I want everybody in that event to feel like they are somebody, that they are there for a reason, and that they have a voice, right?
Right.
So it's not going to be something where you're just going to sit down and listen to a couple of people, lecture you on laws and policies and constitution stuff for a few hours. And no, we want this to be something that people can come together and have a good time on.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And I know you and I have talked about it previously about a couple of things. And if it's anything like I'm thinking, man, I'm freaking psyched. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
Melissa, have you had any luck? Oh, sorry, Dallas. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Go ahead.
No, you first.
I think I was done.
Hey, Melissa, have you had any luck with Corey?
Yeah, he's trying to log in from his new phone. Okay. So he said give him a second. He said his one phone's just too old to run the app.
Oh, I got you. Let's see here. What else do we got going on? You have anything in the news, Dallas, that you have heard lately? Do you know that, check this out, in Maine, so they appointed, because the old DHHS, which is kind of a weird thing, two parts to this, but in Maine, the old DHHS leader had stepped down due to all the pressure that he was getting from everybody. Now they appointed some temporary lady to take over the role, and she has now also stepped down. So I think it's starting to heat up here in Maine. I think people are catching on to what's going on, and they're following the game. and no one wants to sit in this hot seat. I think is really what's taking place here. So
Well, that's what it is. It's a hot seat. It's not just a hot seat. You're jumping into a boiling pot.
Right.
Because that boiling pot is getting to the point where it's going to be overflowing with the parents who are suffering and the children who are suffering from all this massive corruption. You're jumping into a pot that is literally about ready to boil over.
Truth. That's facts. I mean, it's not a matter of when anymore. It's not a matter of if, it's when. I mean, and that's
it will.
Right there.
And the water that's boiling is corruption. The corruption is boiling over the edges, and it's going to burn you.
It's pouring on them. That hot water is boiling and pouring on them. So I had a young lady. She got out of college, and she went and got a job with DCS here, and she worked for them 6 months, and she literally lost her mind. She was so upset. She was hurt, and she got where she couldn't even function anymore because what she saw, what was going on. And a lot of those people that's a part of that system are now coming out because they don't want to be involved in the crookedness and the corruption that's happening now. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's just the corruption, and it sweeps wide. But honestly, I think that this corruption really begins and ends in the CPS thing. When you look at the size of what goes on in this and the amount of dollars spent, like, I am definitely a firm believer that when we take this thing down, we're gonna really take down a good portion of our government and the monetary system that is what we know right now, because there's so much dependent on children being removed from homes. I mean, how are you going to replace that? I mean, I look into a lot of things, and we're doing a lot of investigating on this side, and states are even using the amount of children that they're removing to get Title IV funding to balance their budgets, for God's sakes. You know, you're not seeing a decrease in these things. You're seeing an increase in children being fostered, adopted, time frames. Like, this is ridiculous, and it's going to be massive. You know, it's not just going to be some little brush it off. It's not going to be a P. Diddy story where that's already been forgotten about. This is going to be, you know, hold on to your seats, people. You know, like, that's, I don't know if anybody knows this, but, you know, there's more CPS workers than there are IRS caseworkers. I mean, just but
they have a shortage now, but a lot of those Gardem ad litem and CPS workers, they're the ones that's adopting these children. And so Dallas, I don't know if you've heard the story about the 5 kids that were taken from their parents because the dad and the mom and the 5 children was in the car coming from Atlanta on their way to Chicago, and it was coming through Tennessee. But
I don't think I've heard of that.
Yeah, it was really, really bad because they said the dad had a two of marijuana, the little bitty small 2 grams of marijuana that was inside of a cigarette or whatever it was. When they said that, the police wanted to pull him over, and they pulled him over because they said his they said his windows was too dark in the tent, and they said that his he was driving too slow in the left lane. But we all know what that really meant. It was driving while black. And they pulled him over, and they told him, tell me where the drugs are, or I'm gonna have DCS to come and get your children. So they called DCS just to scare the father. And he said, you can tear my car up, you can do whatever, there's nothing in here. And so when he searched and didn't find anything, he said, called DCS back and said, look, we can cancel that. I'm just gonna give him a citation and let him go on. DCS said, no, bring me them kids. I want those children. And I'm already down here at the police department. But when they did that and they called us, Do you know we brought cameras? So it was in a little town outside of Nashville, but we came down there with every channel, news station. We had everybody filming, everybody with their own cameras. We had 35 people got in their vehicles and came from Nashville an hour away to Coffee County. And when they got there, we all went inside that building. And if that judge gonna do it to one, he's gonna do it to us all. But that judge told them, get them kids out of my state and let them go back home, because it was too much pressure. They can't take that. And that's what we have to do. We have to do that. Nobody should be in the courtroom by themselves no more.
That's right. Put them on. Hey guys, we got, it looks like, Corey, looks like we're here real, right? We got your voice, you talking, everything's gonna work?
Can you hear me good?
Yes, there we are. Beautiful. Corey, welcome. Thank you so much for staying and hanging in there for that. I know it's
How you guys doing?
We're doing good. Well. How are you?
Yeah.
So,
Pardon?
Corey, I know you've got 3 children, right? 3 children. That's what's going on with you, right? You want to go ahead and give everybody a little
3 daughters.
Yeah, why don't
3 daughters. It's been a couple years it's been going on now. What happened was my wife had she's on some medications. So when they when my daughter was born, the medications were obviously in her system, monitored by doctors, all that. There was no issues, but what they did was there was a, oh boy, this is a long story. There was an order that was put in effect due to the mother-in-law. Okay. So that was still on, but we thought it was over with. We thought it was done after the year, right? Well, we didn't know that that wasn't the case. So we were just moving into a new place, and they showed up with a police officer and removed my kids from the house, and said that my daughter that was being born at the time, Olivia, she's 2 now, had drugs in during the birth, which was just medications, and that was they were supposed to be there. They're like I said, they're monitored by a doctor. Then we go through all that gets all squared away, where they put us on an ACD. We did everything they wanted, and then we're getting ready to have another daughter, which is Ella. She's 1 now. And they do a drug test on my wife, at the hospital, and it says that she has cocaine in her system. And that's like totally impossible, because nobody does cocaine in my house. And it was somehow, I don't know what happened, but they do another test, and the test before just said cocaine, right? And then they do another test, which is just her medications, which should be in there, and not the cocaine. So obviously it was a false test. It was a false positive or something like that, to that effect, is what the doctor said. But they still whacked us with it. CPS still whacked us with it, said that that was what it was, and disregarded the second test, disregarded the doctor's letters, both her medical doctor and the birthing doctor, and they just hammered us with it. And which really stunk, because we were just about done. I mean, like I said, you could really literally write a book on this, what these people have done to us. Basically ran out of money. I mean, I don't know where we're at financially with what we've spent on this so far. I know it's near 20,000. Our down payment for our home. Actually, we were actually going to buy a home last year, but that never happened because the money went to a lawyer who failed us miserably. But the real issues are, we've done everything they wanted. I just went and did another evaluation for them. They removed me from the home. They went and seen my daughter at school and somehow got this. My wife and I had an argument or something, and this is like months prior to this engagement, but we were supposed to be done with CPS. The ACD had like 3 days left. We were going back to court, and they violated us. The worker even came here and said that we were done. She was signing off on it, and she went and saw my daughter at school the next day. Somehow got this argument that my wife and I had out of her, and created all these fabricated lies. I mean, it was really just ridiculous. I mean, my daughter won't even talk to these people now. My 10-year-old, Violet, she won't even talk to them at all because she knew that she's like beside herself, saying that she never said what they said and they had written down, and they came here with police and had me removed from the house. And I've been staying at my brother's ever since, and they just keep going around and around, making us jump through hoops. I don't have insurance, so everything I pay for, drug test. Pardon?
How long into this did they separate you guys?
I've been since May of last year. Yeah.
That was from the
I got a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
Good, Dallas.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So when they removed your children, when they told you that you had to move out, or how, I can't remember how that situation happened, did they have a warrant or a court order to do so?
No. Nothing.
Okay. And when you said police officers showed up to your house, did the police officers have a warrant or a court order?
No.
Okay, so the police officers...
They've never had anything illegally. I've done a lot of homework on this. I know that was a complete illegal move. They didn't have anything but some scribbling on a paper, and it was the worker, and she brought the police right afterwards. They walked right in my house. I didn't even know they were here. I mean, they just walked right in, and
so
it was just, I mean, it was surreal. I mean, they're basically dangling. My wife was freaking out because they're dangling our kids in our face again. You know, they've done this the whole way. I mean, the kids are with my wife now. They're good. You know, everything's good with that part of it, but I'm still not allowed in the home. We're not allowed to see the children together.
Why do you say that?
I mean, basically, what I'm... Pardon?
Why do you say you're not allowed to be in the home? Is the court order signed by a judge?
Yeah.
Is the court order signed by a judge and endorsed by the court?
I think so. I'm not too sure.
I can guarantee you,
my wife keeps impeccable documents, so she's got everything in a huge folder of all this since it started. I mean, these people have violated our rights up, right, and sideways. I mean, I couldn't.
So what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Dallas. Go ahead, Dallas. Oh, we lost him. We lost Dallas there. Shit, we lost him. Go ahead, Dallas.
What I'm saying is, if the court order is not signed by an actual judge acting in his judicial capacity and endorsed by the court legally and lawfully, that court order or whatever they're trying to enforce on you has no legal or lawful authority behind it. So the very fact that you're willing to stay out of your home, your own home, you're willing to let them tell you that you are supposed to be doing something when there's no legal or lawful court order behind it. This is what I'm trying to get people to understand, the gravity of the situation. They are perpetrating, they are inflicting nothing but fraud upon the court and fraud upon the people. If there's no legal and lawful authority behind the court order, the court order is no different than toilet paper.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Why are you abiding by a court order that has no legal or lawful authority behind it?
Because again, people don't know what their rights are. And as long as they don't know what their rights are, the courts take advantage of.
Can you repeat that so I could write it down?
Well, you know, well, go ahead if you want to repeat it.
If the court order,
watch this.
If the court order is not signed by an actual judge, not an administrative person who's portraying to be a judge. If the court order is not signed by the judge in his or her judicial capacity, which is also endorsed by the court with the stamp of the seal and the stamp of the court, also signed and endorsed by the clerk of the court, it has no legal or lawful authority behind it. That court order is about as useful as toilet paper, right? I mean, you can basically use that court order for toilet paper.
So let me ask you. Well, like I said, they're dangling our kids in our face. Again, it's been that way the whole time.
And that's called extortion.
And I know that. But again, we ran out of money, so I lost my attorney. Now we're down to these public defenders, and they're just.
Let me ask you something. I'm going to help you out here. Let me ask you something. When was the last court order that came through the court? When did you go to court last and have the judge make a ruling on something?
He didn't really make a ruling. He just said that I had to get the things done that they asked me to do, which I had done. I had to go to a DVIP class, which I'm almost done with, and I had to do a mental health and drug and alcohol evaluation, and I did that with.
And then was that court ordered?
Yes.
And when did that court order come down? When was that court order signed? When was it handed down to you?
That was part of the order, the ACD or the through them. It wasn't through the court. It was through CPS, like an ACD.
If CPS, okay.
Right. If order, right.
If CPS is telling you that you have to do drug testing, you are under no legal obligation to do anything that CPS is asking you to do unless it's court ordered, from and endorsed by the court.
Yeah, it was.
This is what people are not understanding.
I signed a paper. My lawyer had me sign a paper saying I would do it because I had no problem doing it.
So Corey, what he's asking you is, did you get a certified copy of a judge, not these little bitty judges that's sitting on these benches that don't even know their own name? Did you actually get it from a judge with a seal on it saying that this is what you have to do from the courts, not from CPS? CPS is just throwing shit in the wind to see what you will grab.
Yeah, I think it is from the court, but I would have to, like I said, I would have to talk to my wife on that and have her let me see the document because she keeps all that stuff, and I'm not with her right now.
So do this. So do this, my man. Go back, look at the court order. Look at when it was signed by the court and enforced, okay? You can take your case, and I shit you not, anybody can do this in the entire country, okay? You can take your case, and I highly recommend it. This is not legal advice, but it's some serious education here. You can take your court from district, you can take your case from district court and go all the way up to state's appellate court anytime that you want.
Anytime.
You can yank it out of district court and go straight to state's appellate court anytime that you want.
What is it called?
You are never going to win. You are never going to win a case in district court, period.
So how do I
It is
what do I do? File a
insanely
motion for
corrupt.
that?
Can I ask you a question?
Oh man, it's these people out here. Yes, ma'am.
Did you
Yes,
have
ma'am.
a court-appointed attorney, or did you have a paid attorney?
I had a paid attorney at first. He basically gave up because they're just so corrupt out here. We're in Wyoming County in New York. They set it up so he became a conflict of interest, wife and myself, because they separated us. He was our attorney for both of us, but when they removed me from the home, that became a conflict of interest, and he backed out.
But he had you to sign documents, and you the one signed the document saying you will go. The courts didn't give you that, and we have to read and understand anything before we sign it. And if it ain't a paycheck with 16 digits on it, you don't ever sign nothing.
I know that now, man. Yes, I learned a lot through this, I'll tell you, and I really just lost all faith in our system. I mean, because I'm a law-abiding citizen. I've never been in trouble. I've never been arrested or in jail in my life. I'm not a drug addict. I'm not an alcoholic. I used to drink a little bit once in a while, but not get drunk. I'm a Christian. I don't do that. Right now, I don't drink a drop. I don't touch nothing anymore.
You don't have to explain your life to no one. But when you sign your name on documents that you really don't understand, and then you just gave them the right to do whatever they wanted to do. So we have to pay attention. Dallas, you know what we can do? And I'm gonna get me a ticket and come to Dallas. But we need to start doing a know your rights. People have to know what their rights are. These documents that people have and they're signing them, they don't have no right to sign nothing.
You guys, look at this. Melissa's absolutely 100% correct. Here's the thing is, and this is exactly what I said at the beginning of the show. People, the American people and families and parents simply just have no clue what their rights are. And that's so sad. It's so insanely sad. The thing is CPS is not a law enforcement agency. CPS is a subcontracted out agency, subcontracted out by the state, by each individual state. They are operating under the color of law. They are public servants. But here's the thing. Everything, and I mean everything inside of a CPS agency or program is 100% voluntary. When you sign a safety plan, you are giving them jurisdiction. You are under no obligation to sign the safety plan. But here's the thing, the safety plan is a contract. The contract falls under contract law. You have to have certain elements inside of a contract in order for it to be lawful and legal. One, you have to go into that contract willingly. Two, you have to go into that contract knowingly. You have to know everything that's implicated inside of that contract. There can be nothing that can non-disclosure, right? You have to be able to purposefully go into it with a purpose. Okay, if all of those elements, if all those certain elements are not met into a contract, it's null and void. If CPS comes to you and says, hey, if you don't sign this, we're going to take your children. If you don't sign this, we can't do this. You can't do that. For one, CPS has no authority to tell you that you can or cannot do something. Only a lawful and legal court order can do that. Number two, if CPS comes to you and they tell you that you have to sign this or you're going to lose your children, that's called extortion. That's a felony.
Sure is.
How do I get this moved out of the
That's why we
district?
record. That's why we record this stuff all the time. We record.
If you're not actively recording, you're crazy.
Malibu, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Malibu, if you don't sign anything and you don't adhere to CPS, what can they do?
Nothing. CPS literally cannot do a damn thing without a legitimate, lawful, legal court order endorsed from the court.
So, in other words, if CPS has reasonable cause to believe that a child is in danger, safety danger or whatever, and they come and they want to talk to you, and they threaten to, we could take your children, and they want you to sign stuff, don't sign anything. Is that correct?
In my opinion, without trying to give you legal advice, I would not sign a freaking thing with CPS ever.
Okay.
No.
Because I don't care if they come. I don't care if they come to my house with a whole. I don't care if they come to my house with the whole SWAT team. You're not getting into my house without a legal and lawful court order. I'm not signing anything with you ever. I don't consent to contracting with you.
That's
this
right.
This entire country is ran on contract law.
Yep.
And they don't
I do
know
not
what
consent.
are. That's right. And that document that they had you, the document that they had you to sign, if you didn't understand it, every time you go to court, they say, did anybody coerce you or force you to plead guilty? That's because they know what the law says, but they knowing that you don't know. You have to hear everything. I have a young lady that's on here. She's our policy and procedures, and she does a whole lot of these cases, and her name is Christina. And I just want you to hear what she just said. Listen to this. Go ahead, Christina.
Hi, everybody. This is Christina Laster, and what I noticed in doing Know Your Rights sessions is that there is a lot of unresolved trauma from the system on the parents, and so a lot of times while we're trying to tell parents what it is where the failure happened and where the breach took place, it's hard for parents to hear because they feel so defenseless, right? And I know that some of the information that we're giving them is so that they can defend themselves, but there has to be some kind of space in the Know Your Rights for telling parents about what happened to them where we allow for psychological redress, right? Because as a parent, if I lose all my rights and I didn't know all of this stuff in advance, and I'm now learning this, it's like now I have to archive and go through archives and annals in my mind of where I failed to recognize what happened to me, right? So that's all. I was just, saying that instead of it seeming like, it's an attack, it's more of we're trying to defend you. And we have to allow the space for the anger and the discomfort of, I didn't know my rights. They screwed me. And now I got to figure out how to rectify the situation. And it's a heavy lift. But I think in coalition, we can get a lot done because I've been doing Know Your Rights trainings for a long time. And it's not just about Child Protective Services. It's about the nexus between Child Protective Services and K-12 education and the juvenile justice system.
Yeah.
So that's a lot when your parents are caught up in the web of code with all three of them and they're just trying to, loosen themselves from the web. It becomes almost, just hopeless. So I've been thinking about ways to infuse some trauma relief while helping parents still pursue the fight. Because if we don't fight back, then we're conceding, and they're going to keep on growing more powerful by the day. I can't even tell you how many CPS calls I got this week alone, and it's only Wednesday, and these calls and cases are already headed to the juvenile courts. The schools are involved, corrupt judges that I know of, and all kind of commissioners and county supervisors, you name it, it's happening. And so that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I really do appreciate what you all are doing. This is a heavy lift, and I'm here to help pursue whatever needs to be pursued and to teach parents their rights.
And she's in California. So we have people all over everywhere, and we need to band together and help people like Corey and other families. And I'm looking at all of this conversation that's in the comments, and it's bad. And we need to help people, families, and children.
Well, I mean, that's what we've been promoting here. This is what we're doing.
I have to do to get this removed out of this district court? How would I get this removed from this court, this case? Do I have to file
I can
a
help you
motion?
doing that. I can help you walk you through that. But it's a little bit more extensive of actually just doing it here on a podcast. But I mean, I don't know if you follow me on TikTok or not, but if you go to my website, if you want to, I can talk you through the whole entire process. But I can't do that here on a podcast. It's too extensive.
That would be great. What's the TikTok? I'll check it out. I mean, I'm looking for anything right now because we don't. We're just
on the bottom. On the ticker, if you look
getting hammered.
If you go to Malibu Dallas on TikTok, go to my main page, click on the website link. You can book a consultation, and I would be more than happy to walk you through it. Because here,
awesome.
let me connect this. Before I get off this podcast, let me connect this for you guys. What do all of these programs have in common? Other than child trafficking. What do they have in common?
Money.
How do they get paid? It's all money, right?
Revenue.
How are they getting paid? How many people in here know how they are actually collecting money?
They said
Federal government, state.
Right.
Okay, so it's all federal funding, right? It's all federal money.
That's right.
Okay, let me walk you through something real quick with the last couple of minutes that I'm here. All of these programs, CPS, the court systems, judges, schools, hospitals, counselors, guardian ad litems, everybody's getting paid by the state. How so? It's all coming from federal funding, Title IV funding. It's all connected to the Social Security Act of 1935. Watch this. I'm going to read something to you, and I hope you guys can follow this. Because these organizations, especially CPS and these courthouses, are receiving federal money, they must abide by the Social Security Act because that's where their money's coming from, right? So, the Social Security Act of 1935 contains provisions protecting parental rights against federal intervention without parental consent, highlighting the legislative intent to preserve family integrity. This is coming from Miranda versus Arizona. This is actually in 1966. This is a United States Supreme Court decision. Underscores the constitutional principle that rights secured by the Constitution cannot be abrogated by rulemaking or legislation. Check this out. In the same act, Social Security Act of 1935, subsection D, nothing in this act shall be construed as authorizing any federal official, agent, or representative in carrying out any of the provisions of this act to take charge of any child over the objection of their parents of such child, or of the person standing in local parentis to such child. You guys, the Social Security Act is telling you right to your face that nobody can take your children without your consent. CPS agents, these judges, these courthouses, they're all committing fraud.
You know, it also says that if reunification isn't their goal, that they're also not supposed to receive their funding, and that's what we're striking
Correct.
here.
And a brand new, it's coming down the pipeline, but a brand new Supreme Court decision just ruled that if you can prove, and you should be able to without a shadow of a doubt, if you can prove that CPS took your children illegally, unlawfully, against your constitutional rights, you're entitled, ready for it? Ready for this? You're entitled to $600 an hour that your children were removed from you. If your children have been removed from you for 18 months, 18 months, $600 an hour times 18 months. How long is that? How much money? That's over $7 million, people.
Yeah.
That's just from the federal violations. That's not to mention all the psychological damages and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, my wife is a mental health patient already, and she's had trauma in her life, and just put her over the edge. Man, I can't even explain just how bad things have gotten. Yeah.
Corey. So now
yes, ma'am.
I would really like to see you get on a whole different page, because what I'm seeing out of you and hearing from you, this is what the system thrives on. For you to feel down and out and neglected, and because of what they hear and see from you is the reason why they keep coming after you. I want you to hold your head up. I want you to talk with some confidence, and you gonna tell them it's a brand new day. You have to. You got to.
Amen. Amen, Melissa.
No, that's Cheryl.
Yes.
Or Cheryl. I'm sorry, Cheryl.
You got to get out that phone.
I'm going to be in contact with Dallas.
Yes.
Definitely.
Listen, you guys, look at this. Hey, Corey, when you get to my page, my TikTok page, Malibu Dallas, you look at the last couple of photos that I pinned to the very top of my page. I exposed a massive corruption ring in Tarrant County, Texas. I posted a video today showing that this family actually won their case. Why? Because they did not give up. They did not just sit down and take it. They learned their rights. They stood on those rights with confidence, and they did not back down.
That's it.
I don't doubt for a second that we have a major lawsuit, and I'm really someone to help us with this, because
if you say first.
My daughters are all fantastic. They're beautiful little girls. I mean, they're just absolutely adorable. And I don't doubt for a second that they weren't after them. And on top of it, they got the rarest blood in the world. You know, I mean, they're a percent.
But look,
both my wife
guys,
and
check
I.
this out. So we have this letter. We only have a couple minutes here. So we have this letter that we put together here, and I'm going to read it to you. It says,
we can't hear you.
It says, dear state agency, or whoever you want to send this to, it says, I am writing to formally request an investigation into potential misuse or fraudulent activities related to Title 40 funding, federal funding for child welfare services in our state area. Specifically, I have concerns that Title 4 funds may be improperly utilized or reported by such and such named agency and so on, who you're looking at. Some of the issues I'd like investigated include failure to make reasonable efforts to prevent removal of children from homes, improper determination of eligibility for title funded services, unauthorized use of funds for purposes outside allowable child welfare services, falsification of data or case records used to draw down federal funds, failure to properly account for funds to comply with auditing requirements. And then you provide your information. And then it says, misappropriation or fraud involving these federal funds deprives at-risk children and families of critical support services. It also violates the intended purpose of the Title IV program. I urge you to promptly investigate these claims and take appropriate enforcement actions if violations are found. Safeguarding the integrity of child welfare funding is extremely important. I'm available to discuss this matter further to provide any additional information as needed. Everybody needs to send these letters to whoever you have in your Congress, your Senate, your representatives, your town managers, your police departments, anybody. Just get them out on blast. You can email me. I'm sure I could get it to Dallas. I'm sure Dallas has something of his own. But we have these things, people, and you need to start spreading this word. Make them know that they cannot hide anymore.
Send me that letter. And Dallas, the information that you just said, I really want to get that information from you. So
that case law.
Yeah,
Here, I'll do you guys one better. I'm actually working on drafting up a judicial fraud brief. Okay. Inside of this brief, it's going to list all of this stuff. Eventually, when I get done with it, when I get done perfecting it, I'm going to be putting this on my website. It's going to be a free download.
That's a piece worth fortune right there. That's worth itself.
Hey, Cheryl, I'll make sure to get you a copy of it.
Yes, please do. And you know, there's a Christina, can you tell them about the march that's happening in DC on May 12th?
Yes, so there is a Black Mothers March against DCS CPS Child Welfare Services on Mother's Day that we will be in DC. I'll be there. A lot of people are coming from across the nation. And so I would love to have a letter that we could all sign because I am going to be helping with registration and all of that. And so having a letter that we could all sign would be great. I mean, we have mothers, lawyers, everybody in all walks of life coming from all over the nation for the Black Mothers March. And it's on Mother's Day. So that's how we'll be spending our Mother's Day.
Nice.
That's awesome.
We'll get those letters so she could take them down there and we can get those signed. So it's like we getting a petition and it's going to be over thousands of people that's going to be there.
That's excellent. That's good stuff.
Listen,
all right, guys, we're running.
Guys, I gotta tell. I'm gonna be in touch with Dallas, and I appreciate everybody listening to me and tons of help that you've given me. Just talking to you guys really helped. It's been a really bad time, and I appreciate you guys. I really do. You don't even know. Blessings.
Just keep your head up, Corey. Keep your head up.
I will. I definitely will.
All right.
I thank you guys, and I will be in touch again. I mean, I definitely will be on here and letting everybody know what's going on. But like I said, I know that we're being abused by these people in the system, and I just got to find some things out, like about that court document from my wife, and then I can maybe contact you guys back. I will be in touch with you, Dallas, tomorrow. I got to just talk to my wife and get some stuff together.
All right.
I appreciate everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
And Dallas, what's your information, or how, other than TikTok, how do we get in touch with you? And you're going to have to move your TikTok stuff to something else because they talking about disbanding TikTok.
Well, they've been talking about that for a long time.
Yeah,
Listen.
Okay.
So they keep tabs on it.
So look at it this way, though, guys. TikTok, in my own personal opinion, I don't think it's going to go anywhere, and here's why. It is a massive, massive moneymaker.
Okay.
Okay, it is a huge commodity. There's no way they're just going to ban it. We've got 180 million freaking Americans on this platform.
Yeah. Facts.
Okay, so here's somebody's going to buy the platform and they're going to keep it in the United States. And I believe they're actually trying to develop a whole entire new version of TikTok so it stays in America.
Sure.
So if you don't have TikTok, if you have Instagram, my name on Instagram is the same thing, Malibu Dallas. Everybody should be, if you're following me on TikTok, you should be following me on Instagram.
Yes, sir. I got you.
All right, guys. Hey, Melissa, time to wrap it up. Last words for the night.
Never quit fighting for your kids. No one loves them like you do, and no one will defend them like you do.
All right.
Yep.
Cheryl, last words.
Yeah, I just want to say I really appreciate this conversation, and a lot of this needs to be had. And we're going to connect. I'm going to connect with you, Dallas, and keep this going. Darren, I really appreciate you and your platform, and let's just keep this word going, and let's help as many as we can.
Amen.
All right. Dallas, you're up, buddy.
Last word for me, everybody. Do you guys know who Nancy Schaefer is?
Yes, we love her.
Okay, Nancy Schaefer. She was a senator in the 50th district. She said this before she was murdered for speaking out against the mass corruption of Child Protective Services. And this is a quote from Nancy Schaefer. The caseworkers and social workers are very often guilty of fraud. They withhold and destroy evidence. They fabricate evidence, and they seek to terminate parental rights unnecessarily. However, when charges are made against Child Protective Services, the charges are ignored. You guys, not only do we have to sue these individual agencies, unquote for Nancy, you guys, not only do we have to sue them for their massive federal violations and committing crimes against the American people, but we need to start holding them accountable for their crimes.
That's right.
Good, man.
Okay, so just keep that in mind.
All right. And Herbert, what do you got, buddy? Last week.
Yeah, the only thing I have to say is, Corey, when the police come to your door, you don't have to let them in unless they have a court sign documentation by a judge to come in. Otherwise, you can stand there and say, if you want to be polite, just say, would you please have a supervisor respond? And the supervisor is going to have a whole different attitude than the police officer at your door. He's going to listen to all sides and all parts. So don't be afraid to talk back. What I'm trying to say is don't be afraid to exert yourself to the police. They're just as human as you are. They have orders, and you want to understand why do you want to come in my house?
Hey,
If they
Herbert,
just say, I want to come in. Yes, sir.
you know what's better than asking for a supervisor?
What's that?
Asking for a training officer.
Yeah, you're not going to get that because they work a 9 to 5. Supervisors are on.
But you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Supervisors are on 27. In other words, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Every shift has a supervisor. Every shift. But not every shift is going to have a training officer. That's the problem we're having now in the police department, having females available to do searches on another female when an arrest is made.
Yeah,
so they're trying to get more females on every shift.
Hey, Dallas, did you see this right here? This is my Nancy Schaefer line of apparel that I have. I have Nancy Schaefer apparel at abolishcps.com. So,
that's awesome. That's so awesome.
Nancy Schaefer, and yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. So check that out at abolishcps.com.
So
that is awesome. I love that.
Your idea, Corey, about the training and supervisor, and that's great. That's wonderful. But I'm telling you, training, they're not there at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, Herbert, you know who else isn't there?
Oh.
Corey left already, bud.
Oh.
And I'm going to send everybody else. Guys, thank you so much for tonight. Dallas, I'll talk to you in a little bit. Herbert, you have a good night. Dallas, Melissa, thank you so much as always. And Cheryl, we'll be in touch soon. All right, guys. Thank you very much again. Yeah, this is my Nancy Schaefer wear right here at abolishcps.com. Go to apparel. You can see it right there. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There's different button-ups. There's sweatshirts. There's T-shirts. There's all that good stuff that you can get. And if you need stuff made or whatever for your organization or done, get in touch with me at abolishcps.com, at gmail.com, and I will certainly attune you to that. But other than that, CPS Punisher. I'm out of here. Have a good night, guys.